Welcome to Relaxed Reddit Readings. Today we have 4 Reddit stories for you. Reddit drama that'll make you question your own life choices. Story 1. Sister crashed my study abroad plans and called me selfish. So my sister just completely hijacked my once-in-a-lifetime study abroad trip to Europe, and somehow I'm the bad guy here. Let me tell you what happened. I got accepted into this amazing study abroad program in Europe, and I was beyond excited because I've literally never left my hometown before. This was going to be my adventure, you know. When I told my family, everyone was congratulating me, including my older sister who's this huge travel enthusiast. She travels all the time, like whenever she gets the chance. So she suggests coming to visit me during my trip, and I'm thinking okay, that could be nice. But then she starts taking over everything. She's planning this whole elaborate Paris trip, booking expensive hotels, making restaurant reservations, the works. And here's the thing, I'm a broke college student. I can't afford fancy hotels and expensive dinners. I tried to tell her this, but she kept brushing me off saying we'd figure it out. Then she drops this bomb on me that she's already booked everything and expects me to split the costs 50-50. We're talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars here that I absolutely do not have. I tried explaining that I'm on a tight budget, that I was planning to stay in hostels and eat cheap food because that's what I can actually afford. But she just kept saying things like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and, you need to experience the real Paris. Like, excuse me? Who is she to decide what my experience should be? So finally, I had enough and told her I couldn't do the Paris trip she planned. I said if she wanted to visit, she needed to work within my budget or we couldn't make it happen. And you know what she did? She completely lost it. Started calling me selfish and ungrateful, saying I was ruining her plans and that she was just trying to give me an amazing experience. She even got our parents involved, telling them I was being difficult and unreasonable. Our parents started pressuring me too, saying I should just figure out a way to make it work and that my sister was being generous by wanting to share this experience with me. But here's what really gets me, this is supposed to be my trip. My adventure. My chance to explore and discover things on my own terms. Instead, she's trying to turn it into her luxury vacation that I'm expected to fund half of, even though I literally cannot afford it. I feel like I'm going crazy because everyone's acting like I'm being selfish for not wanting to go broke on someone else's dream vacation. The worst part is, she travels all the time. She can afford these fancy trips whenever she wants. But this is my one shot, and she's trying to make it all about what she wants to do. Am I really being unreasonable here for wanting to stick to my budget and my plans? If you're enjoying these stories, hit that like button and let me know in the comments which story you relate to the most. Story 2. Friend won't pay for wedding babysitter and I'm done with her drama. So my friend is demanding I pay for her babysitter so she can come to my wedding, and I honestly can't believe the audacity. Let me break this down for you. I'm getting married in 3 months, and we've planned this beautiful wedding relatively close to where most of our family and friends live. Everything's been going smoothly until my friend Alyssa decided to make it all about her financial problems. Now, Alyssa moved across the country with her husband Mike, and they have 3 kids, ages 4, 3, and 1. We've been friends for years, and of course I wanted her at my wedding, so I sent her an invitation. Here's where it gets weird. She calls me up and starts explaining that she and Mike are having money troubles. Apparently Mike lost his job, they're behind on bills, the whole sob story. I felt bad for her, I really did. But then she hits me with this request that just floored me. She asks if I can pay for a babysitter so she can come to the wedding. Not just any babysitter, mind you, but a babysitter for 3 young kids for an entire weekend, which is going to cost several $100s. I was honestly speechless. Like, my fiancé and I have already spent thousands of dollars on this wedding. We've paid for everything ourselves, the venue, the food, the flowers, everything. And now she wants me to add babysitting costs to that. I tried to be diplomatic about it. I suggested maybe they could bring the kids and we could arrange some childcare at the venue, or maybe just one of them could come. But she shot down every suggestion. She said the kids would be too disruptive, that she needed both her and Mike there, and that the only solution was for me to pay for professional childcare at their house. When I told her I couldn't afford to pay for her babysitter on top of everything else, she got really upset. She started going on about how I clearly didn't value our friendship, how I was being selfish, and how she'd do the same for me if the situation were reversed. But here's the thing, if I couldn't afford to attend someone's wedding, I wouldn't expect them to pay my way. I'd either find a solution or unfortunately have to miss it. She even suggested that since my fiancé and I are relatively well off, we should be able to help out a friend in need. But being able to afford your own wedding doesn't mean you have unlimited money to solve other people's problems. The whole thing has just left a bad taste in my mouth about the friendship. I love Alyssa, I really do, but I feel like she's trying to guilt-trip me into paying for something that's really her responsibility. And the way she's framing it, like I'm being a bad friend for not covering her childcare costs, just seems so manipulative to me. Am I wrong for thinking this is a completely unreasonable request? Story 3. My 30-year friend keeps trying to sabotage my marriage. So I have this friend who I've known for almost 30 years, and he's been secretly trying to break up my marriage this entire time. This is going to sound crazy, but hear me out. This guy calls me every few weeks just to chat, which seems normal enough, right? But here's the thing that's been driving me absolutely insane. Every single time he asks how I'm doing and I say, I'm fine, he immediately responds with, it doesn't sound like you're fine, what's wrong? Like, every single time. And I mean every time. I could be having the best day of my life, feeling absolutely fantastic, and he'll still insist that something's wrong with me. At first I thought maybe he was just being a caring friend, you know. Like maybe he was genuinely concerned about my well-being. But then I started noticing a pattern. This guy has been in love with me forever, and he makes sure I know it during every conversation we have. He finds these little ways to slip it in, telling me how he feels about me, how things could be different, all this inappropriate stuff. And here's the kicker, he's married. I'm married. I've told him repeatedly that nothing is ever going to happen between us, that I'm happily married and he needs to respect that. But he just keeps pushing. So now I'm realizing that when he keeps insisting I sound unhappy, he's basically trying to plant seeds of doubt about my marriage. He's trying to make me think there's something wrong with my life, something missing, so maybe I'll turn to him for comfort or whatever twisted fantasy he's got going on in his head. It's like he's trying to gaslight me into believing I'm unhappy when I'm not. The whole thing came to a head recently when I finally snapped at him. I told him to stop analyzing my tone of voice and stop trying to convince me that I'm miserable when I'm clearly not. I said his constant insinuations were inappropriate and disrespectful to both our marriages. And you know what he did? He got all defensive and said he was just being a good friend, that he cares about me and can tell when something's off. But I've been thinking about this, and I don't think a real friend would constantly try to undermine your happiness like that. A real friend would take you at your word when you say you're doing well. They wouldn't spend 30 years trying to convince you that your marriage is making you unhappy. The whole situation has made me question this entire friendship. Like, how long has he been doing this? How many conversations have we had where he's been subtly trying to manipulate me into thinking there's something wrong with my life? It's honestly kind of creepy when you really think about it. Am I overreacting here, or is this as messed up as I think it is? Story 4. Told my girlfriend her family is using her and she lost it. So I told my girlfriend that her family is completely using her, and now she's furious with me, but honestly someone needed to say it. Let me paint you a picture of what this girl's life looks like. My girlfriend is 25, she works as a chef at a catering company, putting in long hours and finishing work at 6 p.m. every day. She's talented, hardworking, and deserves so much better than what she's getting. But here's where it gets ridiculous. She lives with her uncle, aunt, their 3 kids, and her brother in this big farmhouse. You'd think with all those adults around, the household responsibilities would be shared, right? Wrong. After working a full day as a professional chef, she comes home and is expected to cook dinner for the entire household. Then she has to clean up after everyone, do all the laundry, basically be the live-in maid and cook for a family that isn't even hers. Meanwhile, her brother, who also lives in the house, does absolutely nothing. 0. He doesn't cook, doesn't clean, doesn't help with the kids, nothing. Just sits around while his sister works herself to death. And the uncle? This guy has the nerve to constantly criticize everything she does. She'll spend her evening cooking for his family after working all day, and he'll complain about the food or find fault with how she cleans something. The aunt is no better, always focused on her own stuff and just expecting my girlfriend to handle everything domestic. It's like they've turned her into their personal servant, and she's too kind and too used to it to see how messed up the situation is. I watched this going on for months, seeing how exhausted and stressed she was, how she never had time for herself or even for us to spend quality time together. She'd come home from a demanding job and immediately have to start her second job as unpaid household manager. So finally, I couldn't keep my mouth shut anymore. I sat her down and explained what I was seeing. I told her that her family was taking advantage of her kindness, that they were using her as free labor while her brother got to coast by doing nothing. I pointed out how unfair it was that she's expected to financially contribute, work full-time, and handle all the domestic responsibilities while the men in the house contribute nothing to the household upkeep. But instead of seeing my point, she got incredibly defensive. Started saying that I don't understand family obligations, that this is just how families help each other, and that I was being disrespectful by criticizing her relatives. She accused me of trying to turn her against her family and said I was overstepping boundaries by even bringing it up. The thing is, I love this girl and I hate seeing her being treated like this. She's got so much potential and she's being held back by people who are clearly taking advantage of her work ethic and generous nature. But now she's barely talking to me and I'm wondering if I should have just kept my mouth shut. Was I wrong to point out what seems so obvious to me? If you enjoyed these stories, drop a comment telling me which one was your favorite. And if you want more relaxed Reddit readings, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these stories, like, comment and subscribe for more relaxed Reddit readings.